I want to share the story of how I recovered from depression when it afflicted me. It got really bad. Um, I did not enjoy life, and all of my thoughts were pessimistic. And it had gotten to the point where I wasn't functional in life and where I could not sleep at night. And I had tried different things. I tried the supplements, I tried the therapy, I tried a few different things, but there was one aha moment, one sudden aha moment. It was February 6th, 2016. I remember the day, I remember the circumstances because it was an aha moment. And from that moment on, I just from that moment on, I no longer suffered from depression. So let me explain exactly what I'm talking about. So there was a moment when I realized that I am not the thing that I was struggling with. Let me begin at the very beginning. This is the best way I can explain this, because it's a difficult concept to grasp if you just use straight words. So I want to use experiential metaphors here. You have a kidney, 2 kidneys, and your kidney is not you. It is something that you have. It is, if you want to call it, a tool that serves the functioning of your system, of your body, right? And you do not mistake yourself for your kidney. You have lungs, you have a stomach, you have whatever. There are things that belong to you that are in service of your life, but they are not you. And you do not mistake yourself for it. In the same way, you have a brain. And a brain is also a tool, an instrument, an organ. And it processes stimuli, the things that your nerve endings tell you, the things that your 5 senses tell you, the things that the chemical indicators and hormones in your body tell you. The dopamine, the serotonin. The neurotransmitters. It knows what is going on in your body. It tells things to start and stop, but your brain is not you. And we are so lost in this concept, most of us all the time, that we don't even know the difference between the brain and the mind. But at some point you can figure that out, that the brain is primarily, it's based on solid matter. It's based on neurology, neurotransmitters, those kind of things, sensory input, right? It is physical. And then there's this non-physical thing called the mind. And here's the thing. If I ask most of you, if you asked me 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, am I my mind? I would be like, yes, I am my mind. My mind is me. I wouldn't know the difference. But here's the thing. Your brain is a physical, touchable instrument that belongs to the system called you. Your mind also is an instrument that belongs to the system called you. Your mind is the thing that stores memories, projects thoughts into the future, which sometimes we can turn into worrying. It analyzes it. There's the intellect is embedded within that. It's part of what makes up the mind. It is aware of, no, not aware of. That's the wrong word. It pays attention to certain things. It warns you about certain things. That's what the mind does. And here's the thing. Just like the brain, just like your left kidney, it is not you. It is a process. It is an ongoing 24 hours a day nonstop process that uses the word I. And you have become mistaken for the mind. You think I am the mind. I am. Because the mind speaks. It doesn't go table, chair, or it doesn't go chair. It goes, I am sitting on the chair. So after a while, you listen to that and you go, I am sitting on the chair. And you start to think, oh, all these things that are being said by me. But they're not. The mind's job is simply continuously interpret what's happening. For example, if I get up from here and I go downstairs and, I go in the fridge. The mind, there's layers at which the mind operates, and we are constantly aware of one layer of it. But there's subtler and subtler layers of it. And let's go down to the sort of like one of the more subtle layers, the layer that you're not constantly aware of. But if you think about it, this is happening. When I get up from here, my the mind will go hands on the armrest, push up, sandals, feet sandals, walk, turn around, handle, door, open, door frame, floor, step, step, left foot, right foot, step, step. And then you go to the staircase and it goes step down, step down, step down, railing, hold railing, do not fall, oop, don't slip. And your mind is aware of those things. It is aware of the objects that it sees, the actions that you're engaged in. And this is a big one. The mind's job is to keep you safe. So it is constantly aware of what not to do. Do not slip. Do not, don't jump down 2 stairs. Go 1 step at a time. It understands those things. If you don't put your shoes on, you just kind of slip your feet into your shoes not well. Your mind will go, oh, you might trip. Put your shoes on properly. So there's layers of the data stream, if you will, the thought stream that is always there. The mind is always telling you the things that exist, the objects, stairs, shoes, couch, chair, whatever. And it's always telling you what you're doing. Okay, now walk. Now next step, left foot, left foot, right foot. It's saying those things. It is actually narrating that. And very importantly, it's always keeping you safe. Don't do this, don't do that. Hold on to the railing, put on your shoes properly. Don't run, don't step, don't trip, don't step on that. It's constantly saying that. And you're not actively aware of it, but it is happening. But there are other layers to the mind. The mind is also remembering, because its job is to sort of keep you oriented and prepared and to learn and grow from things. So it is constantly ruminating. What happened? This happened. That shouldn't have happened. Should I have said that? I should have said that. Yeah, that wasn't fair. I think I got cheated on that deal. Okay. That wasn't right. I think I should have stood up for myself. I don't think I was being authentic. The mind is constantly running that other layer of thoughts nonstop. Then it runs another layer and it says, tomorrow, what should I do? Should I go? I think I should go visit this person. Don't forget you have to do that. You have that other errand. And yeah, tomorrow you should go to the gym. You didn't go today. And it's just constantly talking about tomorrow. But because its job is to keep you safe, it uses the information from the past and it projects, it interprets, extrapolates and interprets it and projects it into the future. So it says, yesterday it rained. Tomorrow when you go out, you should take an umbrella because it might rain again. When you were young, you were betrayed. Tomorrow when you go on that date with that new person, beware that he's not a traitor. Look out for that. So, I'm simplifying here, but it's essentially what's happening. And it's layers and layers and layers of thoughts and analysis that are constantly happening. And then at the top surface, the level of thoughts that, actually come to your awareness, there's sort of like, I wonder what I should eat for dinner tonight, Like there's all these like a multi-layered cake or something. There's all these layers of thoughts that are constantly happening. And then there's the top layer, which is where it presents to you the things that are immediately useful to you, for you to make decisions. Here's the thing. Who is it presenting this information to? Who is watching what the mind is saying? Who is listening to the mind? Who is reacting to the mind? If you are your mind, then how can you watch your mind? How can you react to your mind? Why is the mind presenting information to you that it thinks you find useful if you are the mind? The mind is a non-tangible, non-physical, non-organ-based function of your being. It is a function, and it is there for you, to serve you. But for me, I'm not a psychologist here. I'm not going to try to explain this and declare that this is for everybody. But this was my case, and it was the case absolutely with every single person that I have ever worked with, whether one-on-one or in groups, who've suffered from either depression, anxiety, or addictions. 100% of the time, this is the case here. When you mistake yourself, you are awareness. You are the one who is aware of what is going on. You're aware of the fact that you have a kidney. You're aware of the fact that you have a lung. You're aware of what the brain is interpreting and from your five senses. And you are aware of what the mind is thinking at the top level. But when you become identified, when you forget that I am listening to the mind say, I think we should have pasta for supper. When you forget that I am listening to the mind say, I think we should have pasta for supper, and you believe that you are the mind when the mind says, I think we should have pasta for supper, then you get lost in the mind. And the mind no longer has a master. Just like the mind needs an instruction, like AI. It needs to be told, it needs to be asked. It needs to be in service of a being, you. It needs you to say, go retrieve this memory, or plan for this future event, or choose what we're going to have for supper, or figure out what is the best route. Like a GPS, it needs someone to give it instruction. But when you identify with the mind and you become the mind no longer has a master. It no longer has a purpose or a direction. It no longer has somebody to give it boundaries, to give it instructions, to give it prompts, to change its filter. So the mind just starts to spiral out of control. Like if you were to let go of the steering wheel of a car, the car just blah, 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 it goes wherever it goes because it has no one to direct it. The purpose of the car no longer exists. It just becomes a vehicle or a tool out of control. And that's the same thing with the mind. When the one who is instructing the mind, or the one that the mind is bringing its reports to, ceases to exist, or at least ceases to act as the controller, ceases to fulfill its role, then the mind now starts to spiral out of control. It starts veering everywhere and doing whatever. And its primary function is to keep you safe. So its job is to analyze, but to lean its analysis towards pessimism. Sort of like the health and safety department in a big company. Its job is to say, do not recommend this. This is probably not going to turn out well. Too much danger, too much risk. Like an insurance agent or something. It's like, nope, cannot. That's too much risky. That's too risky. So it now starts to think about anything and everything. It starts to think about whatever's in pop culture, whatever's on the news, whatever that person said, whatever's being discussed at the lunch table at work. Okay, that's what we're going to think about. And we're going to think about it in excess, and we're going to lean towards fear. We're going to lean towards vulnerability, because the mind's job is to protect the individual human being who is to a certain extent exposed and vulnerable, and say, "Ooh, you should put on a coat because you'll be cold. You should not walk down that dark alley at night, and you should probably not touch that fire." That's the mind's job. It to give you that sense of caution, but without boundaries. Without being reined in and told, hey, that's enough. Good job, stand down. Without somebody to tell it to stand down, it starts to analyze and analyze and analyze, and to select and to choose what aches you. The mind is not creative. Creativity does not come from the mind. New thoughts do not come from the mind. The mind is a process, and it works with data that has been inputted in it. So it can only, its goal is to warn you about tomorrow, and it can only do that based on yesterday. So it goes through your files from yesterday and it says, oh my God, that happened in your childhood. That happened with your first marriage. Don't forget that your friend did that. The last time you tried to go into a business venture with that person, remember what that person did to you? And it starts to project that towards the future. So any new idea or thought that you have very quickly spirals into, yeah, but no, it's not going to work out. It doesn't work out. It never works out. It's not good. Don't do it. And then the mind also works in a sort of a self-reinforcing feedback loop. So if you respond to the thoughts that the mind brings up to the surface for you and shows to you and reveals to you, if you respond to it and engage with it and start, having emotional reactions to it, then the mind goes, ooh, she likes that. She wants, okay, you like that? I got more of that. And then the mind starts to say, okay, she loves to be worried. She loves to be sad. She loves to regret. And it brings it to you. And I know at this point you're saying, oh, you're saying I love to have pain. No, I'm saying you don't even know it's happening. You have mistaken yourself for the mind. Pay complete attention to the mind. Do not give the mind any instructions or boundaries. React to the mind. The mind loves that you're reacting to it, so it brings more for you to react to. And now you're stuck in a loop and you can't stop it because you don't know that it's happening and you don't know that it's not you. That's the problem. So I was incredibly, incredibly blessed. I really struggled. I read all the books and I did all the therapy and none of it worked. And I was just blessed, just pure grace from the divine. One day I was in a deep guided meditation and before that, I was this hot mess. And then I went into meditation and I just went back here and I was watching the hot mess. And that's the best I can describe it to you, but it was so much more profound than that. I understood that what I thought I was an experience that I was having. I understood that I thought that I was my left kidney, but my left kidney was just a tool that was functioning to help serve me, and that I was not my left kidney. And what I actually mean by that is that I realized that the thoughts, the analysis, the decisions, the conclusions, the emotions that resulted from all of these thoughts, none of it was me. It wasn't me. It was a process that I neglected to be in command of. Like that, I understood it. It was a glimpse. I mean, I became aware of this for, I'm going to say 5 seconds. But I was never, I'll state this very, very clearly. I never suffered from depression again. I never suffered from depression again. But it took me, to be honest, I would say it took me three years to fix and reclaim my authority over the entire system that I am. So to no longer have a mind, a body, and an internal biochemistry that was leaning towards depression. So what that means is I knew who I am not that. But at the same time, I had a body that was, dopamine, serotonin, all that stuff was whacked. I was dull. I was numb. I had no feeling. So I had to fix that. And then I had a mind that was trained to pessimism. So I had to be like, nope. I said, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're going into a different form of thoughts. And I had to retrain the mind and retrain the body. So yeah, I still suffered with the structure and framework of depression. And it took a while to reverse it. And the one that was the authority, me, it took a while for I to really, really assert myself and become comfortable with that authority and remember, hey, don't get lost in the mind again. You're not the mind. Stop it. Like it took a while, but at the same time, it only took that one incident, that one glimpse of what I am and what I am not. And the moment I saw the glimpse, I stopped suffering from depression and I took control of the system and I realigned the system. And within 6 months, anger, resentment, fear, and crippling anxiety was gone. Probably within the same 6 months, absolute lack of, sleep patterns got fixed real quick. Insomnia, that was within a couple of weeks that got fixed. But pessimism, negativity, those things got fixed slowly. I would say most, like maybe 70% of what I was, that had gone crazy over the years got fixed within a year. and the other 30%, maybe, I don't know, just rough numbers here, got fixed in the next couple of years. But that's fine. It didn't matter if it took 5 years or 10 years, because I am not that. I am not that. What needs fixing and me are two different things, you know? Anyhow, I just wanted to share that. That is my explanation of how I overcome depression. And it was not a one-off thing, and it's not a weird thing. I've seen it hundreds of times with the people that I work with. And that is the exact thing, the exact shift that needs to happen. Does it happen in the exact same way with everyone? No. Does it happen quickly, or like the amount of time it takes for this to happen? Is it quick or short with different people? Yes, it varies greatly. The words that people use to describe how they overcome depression will always be different. But at the end of the day, this is what shifts. And if you haven't overcome depression yet, it's because this has not shifted yet. Anyhow, there are so many more videos on my channel that talk about these things in different ways. I encourage you to explore it. I have a playlist on my YouTube channel called Guided Meditations, but I also have a bunch of free meditations on my website, which is, the information is in the link in the description. Just go have a look. The meditations are all free. Like, it's just, just go click on it, listen to the meditations, do the meditations. And I promise you that eventually, if you do a meditation once a day, every day for a couple of weeks, eventually, not like years from now, not many, many, many months from now, but eventually, soon, within a couple of weeks, you'll start to really agree with what I'm saying and say, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true. And then after some time again, you'll go, yes, 100% true. And the shift, the click, the aha moment occurs. And that's when the suffering from depression stops, and you regain control of your system, and you fix the residue of depression. Anyhow, I hope this is helpful. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everyone.